Moore over here at HTM Sports. How is everybody doing this fine Saturday afternoon? So I am just tapping in, man. So I'm going to talk today about the Dak Prescott slander that's going on among the fan base and in the national media. And I get it. No, biggest game of the season. He played one of his worst games. He played one of his worst games really of his career. But we're not going to sit here and act like Dak Prescott is not our best option going forward. And we are not going to act like Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback still, even with the issues that we had in the postseason. Joshua Fisher, what's good with you, man? I appreciate you tapping in with me. So, yeah, man. So, like, Dak Prescott, he deserves a lot of blame for that playoff loss. He does. I'm going to just jump straight into it. He deserves a lot of blame for what happened against the 49ers. However, a bad game does not define a player being bad themselves. Hey, Matt Baden, what's good with you, man? I appreciate you for tapping in with me. So, yeah, man, like, we get it. Dak Prescott threw 2 interceptions. He was very inaccurate. He missed some. He left some plays on the field. Like his level of play is what ultimately cost us that game. But we're not going to act like Dak Prescott just the week before didn't have a 5 touchdown playoff performance. We're not going to act like Dak Prescott, when healthy, is not one of the top 10 quarterbacks in football. And we're also not going to act like there's any other option that is better than Dak Prescott right now. So we're just going to dive into it. I've been seeing a bunch of people. OG Mac 06, what's good with man? What's good with you, man? I appreciate you for tapping in with me. So yeah, I've been seeing a bunch of people talking about what Dak Prescott got to do, and how he is holding us back, how Brock Purdy is now somehow a better quarterback than Dak Prescott because apparently they play each other head up. It wasn't Brock Purdy and the 49ers playing the Dallas Cowboys defense. Like people, they have these crazy narratives going on right now. Elijah Robinson, what's up with you, man? I appreciate you tapping in with me. So yeah, so we're going to discuss that because it needs to be said because I get it. People are mad. We had a real good chance of advancing to our first NFC championship game in 27 years, and we came up short. But like publicly eviscerating your quarterback is not going to make matters any better. Like he understands that he played bad, and like he's going to come back and be a better player for it. Like he has improved really every year since he's been in the league. He is a better passer right now than he was when he came into the league in 2016. Like he has better mechanics right now than he did when he came to the league in 2016. So we're going to talk about it. Everybody, please like, share, subscribe, get some more people in. This is Max Fry's new account. I got new phone, lost my password to my old Google account and YouTube account too. It's all good, man. I appreciate you for coming in here with me, man. Because hold on, I'm gonna put. Speaking of which, I'm gonna put my cash out because I'm not monetized on this page yet. So any donations that you want to make to the page, put it in the cash out. I'm finna pin it to the top of the page. Here we go. Booyah. Dak made bad plays, but our OC didn't help him either. Yeah, man. So like Dak Prescott did not play his best game at all. I'm not, I would never come on here and excuse a quarterback, not playing up to his standard, right? So like Dak Prescott did not play well. He threw 2 interceptions. He only completed 62% of his passes. He really could have had some more, passes intercepted. But like part of it was Dak. But like you pointed out, Mr. Lockhart, like Dak Prescott was not helped at all by anybody else on his offense. Like his running game was not there to alleviate some of the pressure that was on him. His offensive coordinator put him in some bad sets that allowed these defensive backs to get their hands on the ball. So like Dak Prescott, he played a major part in it. But like Kellen Moore did not help him that much. And then I want people to also understand this. Dak Prescott is 61-36 as a starting quarterback. Like he is at 62.9% win percentage for his career. This is not a quarterback that loses a lot of games. This is not a quarterback that we've seen lose a lot of games. Like he's never had a losing season in his career, unless you count the year where he only played 5 games, right? So like Dak Prescott, he consistently wins games for us. He's dominated the division. He's 27-7 against the division, and that matters when you have to play these teams to try and make it into the playoffs. So like I think people are overreacting. Like he is the biggest reason we lost. So people are going to drag this on for a long time until somebody else lose. But like what's even crazier is like Dak Prescott is not the only quarterback that played bad and went home. Josh Allen did not have a good game and he got eliminated. Justin Herbert did not have a great game and he gave up was one of the reasons they gave up a 27-point deficit. They gave up a 27-point lead, partly behind his play. So we're not going to just sit here and act like they're this league full of perfect quarterbacks. There's this league of just guys who, are this much better than Dak Prescott. Because the truth is, like, Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. And if you just really look at the production of all the players in that 6 to 15 range, there is not much of a difference in between those players, right? Like there's one guy might throw for more yards, one guy might complete a couple more passes, things like that. But there's not a huge gap, in between these quarterbacks that are outside of the top 10. Outside of the top 5. Because like there is not much difference in production in between Kirk Cousins or Justin Herbert. If you look at the raw numbers, people love Justin Herbert. But if you look at the raw numbers, Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins have very similar production. Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert have very similar production on the field, right? Last year, like Dak Prescott had better passing numbers than Josh Allen. Josh Allen had the edge in those rushing statistics. So, like these guys that are outside of the top 5, like they're all very similar. They're all very similar. So, like, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, but all these quarterbacks are flawed in certain ways, right? And yeah, like they said, like they wanted Derek Carr to come in. Like Derek Carr has played longer and is less accomplished in win percentage. He has a lower passer rating, lower completion percentage. Has never won a playoff game. So like we could have Derek Carr and we're upset, about Dak Prescott. You're welcome, Henry. You're a chill guy. I said I'll cash up tonight for you, so don't know to your account in the future. My guy, I appreciate you. Like anything else, and we're still pushing to get this page up to 1,000 subscribers to get it monetized. Once we get that rocking, I'll be able to invest back into the show a little bit more, help with the content, things along those lines. So yeah. Then again, they played 2 games within a 6-game window. He was probably tired. It's a possibility. But man, we sit up here and we act like all these quarterbacks are perfect. So let me ask y'all in the chat, right? Let me ask y'all in the chat. Who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, right? Let's go ahead and put it in there. You can name whoever you want to name, right? You'll probably name Patrick Mahomes. You'll probably name Joe Burrow. You'll probably name Josh Allen. Really, it's up for debate who's even in the top 5. I know who probably the three or 4 best quarterbacks are, but like who, like this stuff rotates because right now people are looking at Jalen Hurts as a top 10 quarterback. And that would not have been the case last year. They looking at Geno Smith as a top 10 quarterback right now, and that definitely would not have been the case last year because he wasn't even starting. So like this stuff is very fluent. Like people change their opinions on players. Big Bud says Dak is in the top 5. Like you can really make a legitimate argument for that. I know like some people say that he's like number 10, number 9, number 8. But whatever, like people have to understand, like even if that's the case, right? Let's say at the worst, Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. Let's say he's the 10th best quarterback in football. Well, that would mean Dak Prescott is better than 22 other starters, and he's also better than all the backups. Right? Because people be forgetting they're just listing the quarterbacks that are good enough to start. Right? He's not his top 10. It's possible. Like, yeah, but like that's the bare minimum that you could put Dak Prescott. I will put Dak Prescott bare minimum in the top 10. I'll put Dak Prescott bare minimum in the top 10. Hoodlum, what's good with you? So even if that's the case, at worst case scenario, if he's the 10th best quarterback in the league, then he's better than 22 other starters. Then he's better than however many backups there are in the league. That is a great talent to have on your team, and you can win with that. Now, the problem, what people issues are with Dak Prescott is he is so good at certain points. They expect him to be. Yeah, what's confusing to me, people can't even name 5 quarterbacks in the league. Yeah, there are. It's hard to name top 5. Hey, there's nothing wrong with having Dak in your top 5 because like I said, it's a year-to-year league, man. It's a year-to-year league. And it's hard. It will be hard to name 5 quarterbacks that are actually better than Dak Prescott. Because listen, people say Justin Herbert is better than Dak Prescott, and it can't be because Dak Prescott completes more of his passes. He has a higher completion percentage, right? He win more games. He has a higher winning percentage, and like they always throw out like Dak Prescott lack of postseason success. Justin Herbert has never won a playoff game. People were saying at one point Kyler Murray was a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Kyler Murray is a quarterback that's never thrown for 4,000 yards in a season. He's never thrown for 30 touchdowns or more in a season. Kyler Murray has a losing record as a starting quarterback. And he has never won a playoff game. So like all these standards, that they hold Dak Prescott to, they don't hold these other quarterbacks to. They don't hold these other quarterbacks to these same standards and outlandish expectations as they do Dak Prescott. But all those other quarterbacks got to do is put up numbers and win a couple of games, right? Like people are acting like Dak Prescott has to be perfect, and that's not the case. You know what I mean? Like Dak Prescott is allowed to have bad games, and when Dak Prescott does have a bad game, we need to be able to have an offensive coordinator who can still win the game without him playing at his best. Like the last interception Dak Prescott threw was on a 2nd and 2 in the red zone. You just seen Dak Prescott throw an interception earlier in the game, and you just saw Dak Prescott miss a couple of easy throws. So, as an offensive coordinator, you should know how to help your quarterback. You've been with Dak Prescott for 4 years. You know his tendencies, and you know that you have a pretty decent run game. Even with Tony Pollard going out, you still have Ezekiel Elliott and you still have Malik Davis. You had 3 downs to get 2 yards, and they were overtly aggressive. Now it was a bad throw by Dak Prescott that led to the interception, but it was Kellen Moore who set him up for failure by putting him in the predicament to throw the ball in that situation anyway. So again, I am not excusing Dak Prescott for playing bad in that game because he did play bad in the 49ers game. But what I would not allow is for people to say that Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback based on that solely. Because remember, we just went on the road and won a road playoff game against Tom Brady, who we had never beaten before in franchise history. Right? We had never beaten Tom Brady before ever. And Tom Brady has been in the league since the early 2000s. 20 plus years of playing Tom Brady. And we finally beat him with Dak Prescott at the helm. And Dak Prescott had one of the best performances, in league history. Well, in franchise history, not league history. He had one of the best performances in franchise history based off his numbers in that playoff game. Jerry fired Kellen Moore, immediately hired Zach Robinson from the Rams. He's a Super Bowl ring from Rams of 2020. I had to look into Jack Robinson. A bunch of people have been talking about the Schottenheimer boy being the heir apparent. Dak, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Brady, Rogers. Yeah, it's not a bad list. It's not a bad list at all. But yeah, and then people will be talking like Dak Prescott is the ultimate failure in the postseasons. But then you actually go look at his postseason numbers, and they're pretty damn good, right? He has like 14. I'm gonna be precise. I'm gonna be precise. Let me pull it up. All right, career postseason stats for Dak Prescott. All right, so Dak Prescott has 11. So in the postseason, Dak Prescott has a passer rating of 92.3. He has passed for 1,559 yards. He has thrown 11 touchdowns. Let's see. And he has thrown for 5 interceptions, and he has rushed for 3 more touchdowns. So in the postseason, Dak Prescott has 14 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. It's 2-4. Is completing 63.4% of his passes, and is averaging 389.8 yards. In the postseason. So that's not bad output from Dak Prescott, especially when you consider what other quarterbacks are doing. Like Dak Prescott has more playoff wins than Kirk Cousins. He has more playoff wins than Derek Carr. He has more playoff wins than Deshaun Watson. He has more playoff wins than Lamar Jackson. He has more playoff wins than Kyler Murray. More playoff wins than Jameis Winston. More playoff wins than Justin Herbert. So, it's not like Dak Prescott is a quarterback that's is like the worst quarterback in the postseason or anything along those lines. It's like he has had 2 bad games in the postseason, and both of them came against the San Francisco 49ers. So that might just be a matchup thing. Like the 49ers defense is nothing to laugh at. Cowboys fan 95. What's good, HTM? Fingers crossed for Kellen Moore. Knew we're all waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting to see what we do, man. Because we definitely need some better play calling. We need a better system to support what Dak Prescott wants to do and what we want Dak Prescott to do. So, hopefully we're able to get the play calling we need. Again, I've been banging the table for somebody to come in that wants to run a West Coast style offense. That's something that's like I've been saying. That's something that Mike McCarthy excels at. That's something that Mike McCarthy can help develop Dak Prescott with. There's a system that he knows from the inside and out. He really is one of the revolutionaries in that system. He is somebody that is from Bill Walsh's coaching tree. So if you want anybody running a West Coast offense, it's Mike McCarthy. It's Mike McCarthy. You want him to be able to groom Dak Prescott in that system for as long as he's here. Because all these little curls, the hitches, the option routes that Kellen Moore wants to run, that's not getting it. He's not getting it on a consistent basis. Yes, Dak had a bad game. It's a very inconsistent offense. It's good when this offense is moving the ball, but in games when we can't, this offense looks really bad, and we had a lot of that this year. Yeah, inconsistency has been the Achilles heel of the Dallas Cowboys this season because you've seen like we've been able to score points most of the season, right, with Dak Prescott at the helm. But it's the turnovers. It's the turnovers and the play calling that derails this offense most of the time. And we will cut out on a majority of the turnovers just by getting rid of the option routes. Because remember, people always listen. This kills me because people love their narratives. People always love to run to the fact that Dak Prescott led the league in interceptions, but they always leave out the fact that he led the league in interceptions on non-turnover worthy plays. There were 7 interceptions that he was not at fault for, according to Pro Football Focus. And a non-turnover worthy play is pretty much a interception or a turnover that occurred on a play that the decision of the quarterback or the throw of the quarterback did not lead to the interception. So, like what happened with Noah Brown when the ball hit him in the hands and it bounced to a defensive back. What happened with Dalton Schultz, same exact thing, hit him in the hands, bounced to a defensive back. What happened on some of the option routes where Dak Prescott makes the right read and the receiver doesn't run the right route to meet the ball. So, like, Dak Prescott has had a bunch of that happen this year. And, like, he was a guy, and even with as many interceptions as he's thrown this year, he is still top 10 all time in touchdown to interception ratio, right? So, like, he is still one of the best quarterbacks ever in not throwing interceptions. He throws way more touchdowns than he does interceptions, judging by his touchdown to interception ratio. Because he has like 100 more touchdowns than he does interceptions. People be forgetting that, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's a bunch of bad narratives going around and bad takes. And then what I'm more offended about is people be playing with the emotions of the Dallas Cowboy fans. Like, they're up here talking about scenarios where Aaron Rodgers could become a Dallas Cowboy, or scenarios where Lamar Jackson can become a Dallas Cowboy. And they talk like these trades are even possible. Because for one, Dak Prescott, the most important thing about this is Dak Prescott has a no trade clause in his contract. So not only does Dak Prescott have a no trade clause in his contract, he also has a no franchise tag feature in his contract. So Dak Prescott cannot be traded unless he agrees to the trade, and he cannot be tagged again. So just the thought of people even suggesting that Dak Prescott can be moved from the Dallas Cowboys is just dishonest. Ball bounced off Henderson's hand against the Jaguars. Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff that happened, man. It was a bunch of stuff that happened. And don't get me wrong, there were some interceptions this year that were on Dak Prescott, but like almost half of them came on plays that Pro Football Focus pretty much agrees that Dak Prescott was not at fault. We would have won that game if we still had Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson. What you think? We would have easily won that game if we had Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson, because you saw what CeeDee Lamb did to that secondary. Just imagine what Amari Cooper would have did to his secondary with that route running. Namely, right here in Dallas. 105.3 The Fan. FU. Yeah, man, like a bunch of bad takes. And, that's why I don't like speaking from a place of emotion. Because I was pissed off, too, right after the game. Right? I was mad as hell, too, right after the game. Because, I've been very invested in this team, the entirety of this time. We spent the last 7 months, rooting the Cowboys on, preparing for the season, hoping that we get into the playoffs, hoping we win a playoff game, hoping that we advance. So, I was upset too, especially in the fashion that we lost the game, because it was right there for the taking. We had just made a couple more plays. But, after I calmed down and I really sat back and looked at the facts, and just looked at everything at face value for what it is. Like, Dak Prescott is the Dallas Cowboys' best option right now to go forward and win a Super Bowl. Like, he's the best quarterback. Listen, and even let's say this. Let's say even if somebody was not high on Dak Prescott, right? The idea is to get a quarterback better than Dak Prescott. The problem is there are not any quarterbacks available that are better than Dak Prescott. There just aren't. Like, you look at guys like who are clearly better than Dak Prescott, like Patrick Mahomes. I gave it up. I said Joe Burrow is probably the second best quarterback in football right now. So I say Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. If you wanted the talent, maybe Josh Allen. Maybe not production, but talent. Like he's a more physical runner than him, has a bigger arm, things like that. So, like, the clear-cut quarterbacks that are better than Dak Prescott are all locked in on different teams. Nobody is trying to go find a rookie quarterback that probably is worse than Dak Prescott, right? Like that's not the option. Like we are close to contending. We lost to the number 2 team at home on the road, right? We went on the road and played the number 2 team, and we only lost by a touchdown in a game where my quarterback had a bad game and in a game where my running game was non-existent, right? Because at one point in that game, Dak Prescott was your leading rusher, so you had no run game. You had 2 turnovers in the pass game, and you still were right there with a chance to win that game. So this is not the time to be trying to start over. Like, yeah, people are way too emotional, and I get it. Like I love our fan base because we're passionate, right? You can't ever call somebody from our fan base a bandwagon because we haven't won shit in 27 years. There's no such thing as a bandwagon Cowboy fan now. Like we really fanatics. We really locked in. We really going to war with this team. So, like I understand it and I love it. That's one of the things I love about this fan base. We're very passionate. But, sometimes we get too emotional and we get away from actually talking about football and we get to talking with our feelings. I want to trade for D-Hop or draft Hyatt from Tennessee. I would definitely draft Hyatt from Tennessee before I traded away assets to get a 31-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. And the reason being, I am not saying that he is a bad receiver, but I can get a younger receiver who is faster and have him for fairly cheap for the next 4 to 5 years, depending on where we draft him at. If we drafted the number 26, we'll have him for 5 years. If we draft him in the second round, he fall that far, we'll have him for 4 years. And this is a guy who played great football this year. He performed against SEC level defenses. They have a bunch of future NFL players on them, and that what really sells me. If you are able to play well against SEC opponents, against SEC defenses, I believe in you. So I definitely would draft Hyatt, but I just want somebody on my team that gives me more versatility, that gives me more speed on the outside, because we're a very slow receiving core. Noah Brown slow. CeeDee Lamb only runs a 4.5. Michael Gallup only ran a 4.5 when both his knees were healthy. So ain't no telling how fast he really out there moving right now. Put Dak on the Eagles with them weapons and coach staffs. He's not Super Bowl ring. That's crazy talk. Yeah, he will definitely win the Super Bowl over there with the Eagles because they got all pro talent on the offense and they got a good play caller. Like people be forgetting, like they have control over whether Dak Prescott is going to have a bad game or not, right? Like Brock Purdy was not at his best the last game either, but they did enough things in the run game, in the screen game. They gave him enough easy throws, to protect him. Like when Dak Prescott is playing at his best, like he plays like one of the top 3 quarterbacks in football. We saw that the week before against the Buccaneers. But when Dak Prescott is off, and it comes off the rails a little bit, you need to support him. You need to make sure that run game gets to going. You need to make sure that screen game is working, right? You need to do some things to get Dak Prescott back into a groove and get the ball out of his hand, and make him feel like he's not, and use his legs. Like just because he can't just because he having trouble hitting the targets from time to time does not mean that he can't run and get you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards. So he's not an old broke down quarterback. He's only going to be 30 years old this year. He's still very athletic. He's still very strong. He's still very explosive. So let Dak Prescott run the ball. Yes, I love my team and do go down with my team. But when you don't want to go out and get better players to get over the top, it lets me know the front office is to blame. Right. And that's not no disrespect to Hurts. He's a good quarterback, but he's got help though. Yeah. Like I think Jalen Hurts, and this is one thing I will tip my hat to, with the Eagles. They know who Jalen Hurts is, and they are not trying to force Jalen Hurts to be anybody but himself. They are not asking Jalen Hurts to throw the ball 40 times down the field. They're letting Jalen Hurts run RPO. They're letting Jalen Hurts run quarterback keeps. They're letting Jalen Hurts throw the ball deep off of play action. They're moving the pocket for Jalen Hurts. Like, they are doing everything in their power to make Jalen Hurts successful. Right? They are crafting their offensive philosophy around his skill set. Pick Eagles to win over 49ers. Hurts is good. I think I hate the Eagles more than the 49ers. So I am picking the 49ers to beat the Eagles. But it is a great chance that the Eagles beat the boys by double digits. I'm not going to even lie to you. There's a great chance that this could end up being a blowout, because we had chances to get ahead in that game. Like, remember when Dak Prescott threw that interception in the red zone? That was a 10-point turnaround. We were finna go up 13. We had a chance to go up 13-6, and instead going up 13-6 because we threw the interception, they went up 9-6. So that was a 10-point swing right there on that turnover alone. So, we had chances in this game to put distance in between us and the 49ers, and we did not take advantage of it. 2nd and 2, say run all day, whether it's the backs or the quarterback. Yeah, it could have definitely been a better call on 2nd and 2. I still don't know what the thought process was behind that play call. And just to be fair, because it didn't work, we're questioning it. But we definitely should have been, running the ball. Yo, landlord, I see you in the building, Ken Folk. What's good with you, man? I appreciate you for stopping by. Yeah, so everybody show love to landlord who done entered into the chat with us, man. Martin Talks Cowboys. If we're going with Brian Schottenheimer, wouldn't mind checking if DK Metcalf available. DK best years with Schottenheimer. Yeah, and I've been looking at Schottenheimer just a little bit. Right, I still haven't put the film on him. I just crunched the numbers. Like, just judging by the numbers, like, we're gonna have to do something at running back if he's going to be the play caller. Right, he likes to run the ball. Like his last stop in Seattle, first 2 years, they were the number 1 rushing team in football, and they did not have a good running back. And then the next year, they were the number 4 rushing team in football, and they still only had a stable of running backs. So, like, this is a guy that wants to run the ball, who wants to play action heavily off of that. And, that really actually sounds like the stuff that Dak Prescott would have sell at, right? Put it in the chat. Bring back old Jerry. Take a risk, Jerry. I feel that. I feel that for real. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, show my kin folks some love, man. He's stopped by with us. But yeah, man, like, we would have to do something. If that's even like bringing back Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard, or drafting the Bijan Robinson kid out of Texas. But if he's going to be your offensive coordinator, you need to get him a good stable of running backs, or you need to get him a workhorse. Because if he's going to be the play caller, this is going to transition into an even more run-heavy based offense, just based on what I've seen from his last stop. Now, I don't know if he's changed his offensive philosophy since then, because it'll be about 3 years. It'll be a 3-year difference. He might have fine-tuned his play calling, changed his play calling around. I don't know. But, if Schottenheimer ends up being the offensive coordinator, you need running backs. So you might want to work out that Ezekiel Elliott contract, see if you can keep him on the roster for a little bit cheaper. You might want to see if you can bring Zeke. So that would be my thing. You have to address running back regardless. So either get it done with Zeke, and bring back Tony Pollard, secure them both, or bring in Robinson. But you're going to have a stable of running backs if he's going to call the plays the way he called them in Seattle. Yeah, Max is the best, man. He be looking out, man. He damn should be looking out. Michael coming up, few. He's going to want the bag. He deserves the bag. But this the thing, like Michael, this is only his second year. We still got Michael for 3 years. Like, you can't even give Michael Parsons an extension until the end of next season, if I'm not mistaken. He had to have 3 years, and he had to be 3 years in on the contract. Now, Trayvon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb can be extended this offseason. And I think they both will. Because Trayvon Diggs only has like $1 million left on his deal. He's been way too productive to risk getting hurt on $1 million deal. I don't think he'll play. Honestly. I think he'll be in Cabo somewhere before he comes out there and plays on that $1 million deal. Yeah. Yeah, the trap in the building, man. But yeah, I think he will be in Cabo with sand between his toes, drinking a daiquiri before he runs out there and risks losing his chance to get some generational wealth, playing on a $1 million deal after he's been an All-Pro selection and a Pro Bowl selection these past couple seasons. And listen, people are down on Trayvon Diggs. I don't think he played that bad. Now, he dropped that interception. That could have changed. That could have changed the complexion of the game. But overall, like I say, I don't ever like to judge people just based off of one game. Overall, Trayvon Diggs had a great season. Like he got so good in coverage, people weren't even trying to test him. So I think Trayvon Diggs deserves his bag. Just based on what he did this season, based on what he did the prior 2 seasons. So, though I say we overreact to a lot of stuff. Excuse me. But yeah. Hold on. All right, then I almost messed up. But yeah. So that is like I was saying though. Who do y'all want though as the offensive coordinator? Because I've heard this name Schottenheimer. I heard bringing in the other Turner boy to I heard people ask for Turner. I heard people asking for Byron Leftwich. Who is y'all's selection for offensive coordinator moving forward? Who do y'all think he should have knocked the heck out of Kittle? He definitely should have. Like the Kittle play and the drop interception weren't great looks, but like I forgive him. Cliff Kingsbury. I would take Cliff if he was willing to come in and play. He said anybody but Kellen Moore. Now listen, I am going to say this. There are offensive coordinators worse than Kellen Moore. So I'm not going to go as far as say anybody. I'm not going to say anybody. I know we tired of Kellen Moore, but there are offensive coordinators that are worse than Kellen Moore. Like the boy that was just calling plays in New England. Like he was horrible as a play caller. Matter of fact, he was a defensive coordinator calling offensive sets. So like it could be worse. It could be damn way worse. Yeah, Zach Robinson. That's who y'all were talking about. So you say Zach Robinson runs a West Coast offense. That's all I need to know. Let me look up Zach Robinson since he got brought up in the chat. Because let's see, Zach Robinson, born in 1986. He was a 7th round pick in 2010. He's 36 years old. All right, let's take a look. Pass game coordinator. All right, so Zach Robinson was the assistant quarterback coach for the Rams in 2019, assistant wide receivers coach in 2020, went back to being the assistant quarterback coach in 2021, and he was the passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach this year. Okay. Robinson team. Announce his positions. What's that? Okay. So yeah, he's from that coaching tree. I like that system. So if he bringing that system with him, I don't care what the hell he did. He could have been the water boy. As long as he bring that system over to Dallas, I'm fine with it. Because that system employs a lot of stretch runs and a lot of play action off of that look. So I can live with that. In-house Schottenheimer outside Bobby Slowick, passing game coordinator from San Francisco 49ers. Now listen, if Bobby has some of Shanahan play calling tendencies, I would like him too. I would like him too. If he can bring that system with him, and it ain't even got to be as good as as good as the original, right? As long as he can bring those concepts with him, then I think we'll be fine. So that is cool. We did touch on Schottenheimer. I think he will be a solid. He will be a solid pickup. But like I said, with him, we just got to we gotta make sure we got a running back. We gotta make sure we get our running game back efficient. We're gonna have Schottenheimer as our play caller. Let's see. He's helped Matt Stafford with takeover issues and to win Super Bowl. Okay. See, I like that y'all have guys in mind. Like a lot of times people will be saying they want to get rid of somebody and they don't even know who the hell to replace them with. So the fact that at least y'all have folks in mind that y'all want to take over, that means that y'all been doing y'all homework. That means that y'all really actually care. Y'all about solutions and not just complaining. So I appreciate the chat for being up on that shit. My biggest fear, Jerry won't fire Kellen Moore. He's his boy. Well, this is the thing. When you are in a position like Kellen Moore, you are allowed to fail upward. So they could just do 2 promotions. They could promote Kellen Moore to assistant head coach, and they could promote Schottenheimer to offensive coordinator. That way, Kellen Moore can save face. He won't have it on his resume of being fired. He will still have a job. He probably will have a little bit higher pay rate at that point, becoming assistant head coach. So that's an option for them because remember they cleaned house, so they can move whoever they want to, wherever they want to at this point. And Kellen Moore would still not be calling plays, but he will still be on the coaching staff. He will still be on the coaching staff, collecting a check, getting experience, and he won't have a black eye, in the eyes of the media and the fan base. So like they could just promote him to a position where he doesn't have to call plays. And then they could promote Schottenheimer to be offensive coordinator. That really what I think will happen is like they'll just move Kellen Moore out of the eyes of the public. I think that's more likely to happen than Kellen Moore getting fired. They'll move him to a position where he no longer have to call plays. He'll still be involved with the offense. They'll still talk glowingly about him, but he won't have to do any. I stand with Dak. Go Cowboys. I stand with Dak too, man. I say he's a damn good quarterback. He's a damn good quarterback. I think people are they saw Dak Prescott play bad, and then I think they underestimate like how good Dak Prescott really is. Right? Because in fact, I'll tell y'all. Okay. I'll tell y'all. Completion percentage all time. So right now he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. So right now, Dak Prescott is 8th all time in NFL career completion percentage. Right? Dak Prescott has a better career completion percentage than Patrick Mahomes, Matt Ryan, Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Tony Romo, Phillip Rivers, Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Steve Young, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Joe Montana. List goes on. So for his career, he has a better completion rate than all those guys. Right. Now let's look at passer rating. All time list, right? That's all that matters. Right. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he is 9th all time in career passer rating. Dak Prescott has a higher career passer rating than Tom Brady, Tony Romo, Steve Young, Lamar Jackson, Peyton Manning, Justin Herbert, Phillip Rivers, Kurt Warner, Matt Ryan, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Montana, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford. The list goes on. Right? So, and then, we talked earlier about touchdown to interception ratio. And of course, we're doing all-time lists. Like this is not just for this is not just for a season and no other craziness. This is all-time list. Touchdown to interception ratio. Dak Prescott is number 9 all time. Number 9 all time. And his TD to interception ratio is better than Drew Brees, Steve Young, Peyton Manning, Tony Romo, Matt Ryan, Andrew Luck, Kyler Murray, Phillip Rivers, Donovan McNabb, Big Ben, Matthew Stafford, Joe Montana, and the list goes on. So I'm not saying that Dak Prescott in a vacuum is overall better than some of those guys listed. I'm not saying he's better than Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or anything. But to be in a position where Dak Prescott as a passer, like he has to have better passing stats than some of the all-time greats in certain categories, that means Dak Prescott is doing a damn good job. That's all I'm trying to get at. Like Dak Prescott is doing a damn good job. If you're top 10 in completion percentage, if you're top 10 in passer rating, if you're top 10 in TD to interception ratio, you're doing a damn good job. So how can Dak Prescott not be a top 10 quarterback when he's top 10 in 3 all-time passing statistics? Right? So that doesn't even make sense. So people can't say Dak Prescott is trash when his numbers don't say he's trash. And you can't say eye test because you see Dak Prescott win games more often than he loses. Man is 61-36 as a starting quarterback. That means you've seen Dak Prescott win almost twice as much as you've seen him lose. Right? Romo was stat king too. Yeah, but that's the thing. Tony Romo was a damn good quarterback too. Like the issue is like people are be upset with these quarterbacks because we don't win championships. And there are great quarterbacks that are in the Hall of Fame right now that never won a championship. I know some of y'all may be too young to remember Fran Tarkenton, but he was an all-time great quarterback that played for the Vikings and never won a Super Bowl. I know a lot of people bring up Dan Marino, all-time great quarterback that never won a Super Bowl. But we don't even have to go that far back. Think about somebody like Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers made 9 Pro Bowl selections, made numerous All-Pro teams, was a great quarterback. And, but he never won a Super Bowl. But he still was a damn good quarterback. So, you go from that end of the spectrum to the next end of the spectrum where these super average quarterbacks won championships. Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, Nick Foles. Oh, shoot. Like hell, even in the year that Eli Manning won his Super Bowl, he threw 20 interceptions. So, there are quarterbacks that aren't that great or had bad seasons that went on to win Super Bowls. And then there's Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame right now that never sniffed a Super Bowl. So I get that people are upset with not winning because my heart was broken. It broke my heart to see us lose that game. But at the same time, man, right is right and fair is fair. Because listen, even if Dak Prescott played the game of his life and we end up losing that game, nobody was gonna give him no love for it. Yeah, Eli did turn that shit up in the playoffs. Eli did turn that shit up in the playoffs. We are about 5 players away from having a top-notch team. Yeah, man, because we just need to sew up our line. We need to get an extra lineman. We need to get another lineman in here so we can get back to running the ball the way we want to run the ball. We need another receiver. We probably need a running back and a wide receiver. I think we're set. Because I would retain Dalton Schultz. Diggs need to get some balls. Yeah, I was surprised that Diggs did not get his hand on more interceptions. Right, and we're not used to seeing Trayvon Diggs drop interceptions either, because there was a blatant drop on that deflection that he could have called to change the trajectory of the game. But we're gonna see. But yeah, like I still believe in Dak Prescott, and if you look at history, he still has as good of a chance as anybody else to still win a Super Bowl. Like people be looking at quarterbacks at the end of their career, looking at their accolades, and forgetting how long it took them to get that stuff. It took Peyton Manning 9 years to win a Super Bowl. It took Drew Brees 9 years to win a Super Bowl. It took Matthew Stafford 13 years to win a Super Bowl. It took John Elway 13 years to win a Super Bowl. Or was it 14? It was a long ass time, right? And then it took Rich Gannon, I don't know how long to even get to the Super Bowl. He didn't win it, but Rich Gannon was a journeyman quarterback for like the first 10 years of his career before he found the perfect situation in Oakland. So like I'm a rock with Dak Prescott as long as he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He's too good to replace. My heart was broken. We lost this game. My question was the front office setting Dak up for failure when they traded Cooper and didn't replace him with anyone. No, I am talking about Diggs hitting with force in these games. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel that. I can feel that. Yeah, listen. I just need him to make contact. I don't expect him to lay wood like a safety, but he has to be more. He has to be more aggressive at the point of attack. And yeah, Dan Marino never won Super Bowl. But like he is still a top 10 quarterback all time. And I look. So yeah, I have faith in Dak Prescott. Yeah, he said your favorite quarterback ever, wish he could have won a ring. I wish he would have too. Like he deserves it, man. He deserved it. Ty Bun, what's up with you, man? I appreciate you tapping in and joining us, brother. So yeah, man, you missed it, man. Like we was in here discussing Dak Prescott, and we were in here discussing, like the slander he's receiving right now. And we're not defending the playoff performance. That was a bad playoff performance. He literally threw the game away. However, I can't just let these talking heads come in here and act like Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback. Because when you get to looking at the other guy they try to put over Dak Prescott, they have not accomplished shit either. They ain't accomplished shit either. Because, like, you obviously have to put Mahomes over him. You obviously have to put Joe Burrow over him. But, after that, like, it's a little bit of a stretch for all these other guys. I'm not saying Dak Prescott's the third best quarterback in the league, but, there's not much of a gap in talent. Like I was telling them, there's not much of a talent gap in between quarterback number 6 and quarterback number 15. Like, in my opinion, Dak Prescott is easily a top 6 or 7 quarterback. He said, "Facts. I was mad after the game too, but I'm still rocking with Ford." Yeah, because he's your best option. He is your best option. And like, look, the guys that they put over him, Justin Herbert, nice numbers, no playoff wins. Kyler Murray, character issues, decent numbers, losing record as a starter, no playoff wins. Deshaun Watson, huge red flags, only one playoff win. And they really, if you look at Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott, like their numbers are similar. But that's why I be saying, like, there is not much difference in between the production that these guys are putting out. Yeah, I mean, and we're not even talking about like talent, right? We're not really just talking about talent in this regard. Because there are guys that are bigger than Dak, there are guys faster than Dak, and there are guys that got more arm talent than Dak. But we're talking about production. I'm talking about, all right, that's cool. You can throw the ball 70 yards, flat footed off, falling. You can throw a fadeaway 70 yards. My guy can't, but we're throwing the same amount of touchdowns. We're throwing for down the same amount of yards. We're scoring, like stuff like that is what I'm looking at. It's like, yeah, there are plenty of guys with more talent than Dak Prescott. Like that's the reason he fell to the fourth round. Like talent wise, like there are guys bigger, there are guys faster, there are guys with bigger arms. Production wise, like Dak Prescott is one of the most productive quarterbacks in football. Like there is a reason that we've had the number one offense since 2019 when Dak Prescott is under center. Like there is a reason for that. And then like when you compare Dak Prescott to like Josh Allen, like yeah, Dak Prescott completes a higher percentage of his passes. Dak Prescott, has a lower turnover worthy play rate. Dak Prescott, like he has him beat in an area that actually revolve around passing. He said Trevor Lawrence too. Like, see, this is the thing. We're talking like people for talent and production are two completely different things, right? So like yeah, like there's a bunch of young tall guys with big arms, right? There are a bunch of tall young guys with big arms that can run like deer. We get that, but we're not looking at that. We're looking at flat out production. Like all those guys you named, except for like Justin Herbert, have never thrown 37 touchdowns in a season. Like the most touchdowns that Josh Allen has ever thrown in a season is 37. The most touchdowns that Dak Prescott has ever thrown in the season is 37. Right? And the season that they did that, like Dak Prescott, like they're near the same numbers. Outside of like the rushing stuff. We know that Dak Prescott doesn't run nearly as much as Josh Allen does anymore. But when you just look at what Dak Prescott brings in terms of production, like he's there with all these guys. So like, yeah, I get what you're saying about the size and the arm talent and things like that. But like actually going out there and using that stuff to win games, like Dak Prescott, like he's up there with all these guys. And that's really, just an indication of how talented the league is. It also is an indication of how good your quarterback is, though. Because remember, these are guys they use premier first round picks on. And Dak Prescott was a fourth round pick that worked himself to be this. You know what I'm saying? Like that work ethic, like Dak Prescott work ethic has him in the conversation with these guys with all this God-given talent. Because Dak Prescott, started from the ground up, rebuilt his throwing motion. He got more accurate as the years gone by. All these other different things. So yeah, I get what you're saying about the physical aspect of the game. Like there are guys that are bigger, stronger, faster, bigger arm. That's true. There are plenty of guys. There are probably like 15 guys that fit that mold. But when we're talking about production, we're talking about yards thrown, completion percentage, touchdown passes, accuracy. Like Dak Prescott is consistently top 10 in all those areas every year. I want y'all to remember this. Just last year, Dak Prescott was like top 5 in passing touchdowns, third in completion percentage, all these other crazy things, and he did not even get a Pro Bowl selection. Dak Prescott threw 37 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions, went 11-5 as a starter, and our fan base did not even vote this man into the Pro Bowl. Just think about that. So yeah, like production wise, he's up there with everybody else. Zach Robinson would get the best out of Dak. He's pretty good. See, I'm gonna go do some more research on Zach Robinson since y'all bring it up. He said, I don't know, man. I respect you, but get replaced by Mahomes, Minshew replaced by Lawrence, Goff by Stafford, Burrow replaced Dalton. Sometimes need elite talent. Well, this is the thing. You don't have elite talent. And this is what I want to know. What is the term elite? Because you put Trevor Lawrence in there as an elite quarterback, and in the playoffs he threw 5 interceptions to 5 touchdowns. That is not elite level production. Like he just has a name. Like and I get it. He has an immense talent, and he's young, so I'm not going to knock him. But like just to put these people on the pedestal. Of course, I take Mahomes, over Dak Prescott. But this is the thing: when Dak Prescott is still considered a top 10 quarterback and it's unmovable, you need to try and win with him while he's on the roster. So, like starting over when you have a bottom 20 pick, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just not fathomable. Now, if you want to let Dak Prescott walk at the end of these 2 years, because he has 2 years left on his contract, if you want to let Dak Prescott walk at that point, and you already have a team in place, then yes, you like trade away assets and go and try and get the best quarterback ever. Right? You can do that at that point. But right now, it's not about it's about trying to win with the quarterback that you have. Come on, those 4 all have stronger. This is the thing. There's throwing power win games because Zach Wilson has a big arm too. Like I understand what you're saying about the physical traits. Like there are plenty of guys that have better physical traits than Dak Prescott. But I want you to remember, for every Patrick Mahomes, there's a Jameis Winston. For every Josh Allen or Justin Herbert, there's a Daniel Jones. Right? For all these other guys you can draft in the first round, there is a Josh Rosen. So, like, what I'm saying is pretty much you're getting top level production right now from the quarterback that you have on your roster. Zach Wilson is basura. Only thing I'm saying is you're getting top level production from the quarterback you got right now, right? Because like, listen, truly elite quarterbacks right now. There's only 2. There's only 2 guys I would say are truly elite right now, and that's Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Because you can't say Josh Allen is elite because he got his best accomplishment is going to an AFC Championship game and losing by 2 touchdowns. You can't say that Justin Herbert is elite because he's never won a playoff game. The biggest moment of his career, he helped allow the 3rd biggest playoff comeback in NFL history. You can't say right now that the boy in Jacksonville is elite because he threw 5 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So like there are not really many elite quarterbacks right now, and the word elite has so many different meanings. So like, who is what is elite? Is it the top 5 quarterbacks? Is it the top 6 quarterbacks? Is it the top 10 quarterbacks? What is elite? Are we going off of actual production? Are we going off of measurables? You know what I mean? So like that's where it encompasses so much. I tend to stay away. Ooh, he said it's Hurts elite. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say he was elite, but I also wouldn't give a quarterback that title off of one season. Like, you got to do more than they come in because he was I'm not going to use that word either because I'm not a shock jock. He was not that great his first 2 seasons in the NFL, right? Because he barely started his first year. We dominated him his second year. And, he's having some motion this year. But I need to see more before I can just say he's an elite quarterback. Hate to say Dak is your next QB. Who you going to get? Derek Carr? Yeah, because like Dak Prescott is our best option right now. Now, down the line, you know what I'm saying? If Dak Prescott doesn't want to be a Dallas Cowboy at the end of these 2, or we don't want Dak Prescott as a Dallas Cowboy at the end of these 2 years, then by all means, you trade up in the draft and you get the best quarterback available. That is a very true. Hey, what's up with your T Smooth? What's up with your kinfolk? He said Hurts never beaten a top 10 QB, luckiest QB ever. Yeah, we cross that bridge when we get there. So right now, what we need to be trying to do is build a roster around Dak Prescott so we can compete. Like nobody wants to go home early again. Nobody wants to have any doubt. If we build a super team like this, like the Eagles did, like remember the Eagles said they were a super team going into the season. They weren't lying either. So when we build up a super team and we still don't win, then we'll revisit that. But let me see Dak Prescott with some more weapons. Let me see Dak Prescott with some more weapons, and we'll see. And a better play caller. If Derek Carr is all that and a bag of chips, then why is he on? See, I don't think Derek Carr is a bad quarterback. I just don't think that Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Right? Eagles will go 11-7 next year with a first place schedule. Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are going to have another monstrous season like they did this year. I do think it's set up for us to win the division next year, just based off our current schedule, based on what I assume will be influx in their roster, based on the fact that we can probably improve our roster. I got us winning the division next year. Well, of course, I'm supposed to think like that anyway. I always think of the best case scenario surrounding the Dallas Cowboys, but you gotta be optimistic. It's like I'm optimistic about the quarterback situation. Because, yeah, man. And, hey, bro, I want you to think about this. I know that, like there are guys that are ahead of Dak Prescott in, like, these physical traits. But, like, you go and look at, like, completion percentage. You go and look at, like, passer rating. You go and look like touchdown interception ratio. I don't know. You were here for that little spiel. Like, he's top 10 in those categories all time. Like, this is the quarterback with the most passing touchdowns in a single season in our franchise history. So we just gotta hope we can put some more around him. Because remember, we did not win a playoff game, but the last time that Dak Prescott had legitimate weapons, he damn near had 40 touchdowns. You could win with that kind of production. And our defense was nowhere near as good as it was last year than it is this year. Like this, we have a much better defense this year. And we'll probably have a much better defense next year. Now we know that Dan Quinn will be back, and now that we'll have another off season to address our deficiencies. Because if we get like a big ass defensive tackle and a true middle linebacker, and we get this run defense sold up, like we'll be damn near unbeatable. But yeah, but look, man, I done sat here and ran my mouth for about an hour. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, taking the time out of your day to come in and view the channel. I appreciate the love. Just remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to build this up to 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, I said Dak is fine if Nick OC needs to identify his identity and hold him to it. NFC, what's up with you, man? I appreciate you. You came in at about the tail end. So, but yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming and rocking with your boy. Just make sure you like, share, subscribe. We're trying to build this up. I'll be trying to go live a little bit later on, man. Like I'm gonna try to get back on here a little bit later on. I won't have some fatherly duties and shit to attend to right now. So just share the content, subscribe, and I will be back later on, man. I appreciate y'all for everything. I'll see y'all soon.